this craft that you know so much about.
Okay, are we recording?
Yeah.
One of the things about voiceover is that it's usually a conversation, and a conversation can go over music. It can go over a video playing. It may be a car winding through mountainous hills, or it may be a person riding down a beach. And so you want to be able to deliver the story as a person has a visual. So if a person is driving a car and you see the shiny car, but you also see the beautiful trees and the hills, you want to give them that message. So the message may be, drive our car. It's the luxury you want to feel when you are out for the night, away on vacation, or just simply some R&R. That's the voiceover. The voiceover should get into your head. It should get in your head. It may be something that's very serious. It could be funny. It can be very informative. If you look, many times you may hear a pharmaceutical commercial, and they'll tell you about this medication and all it good can do. But then they'll tell you about the side effects too. And you want that voice to be a voice to remember. Sometimes a voice may not be a voice like mine. It may be simply a voice like a girlfriend of yours. It may be the voice of your mother or your brother. It may be the kid that you like. It may be the kid you dislike. But sometimes even having someone speak in a way where you don't like them, it makes it something that's memorable. And I thought I turned that off. I apologize. Let me do that again. Voiceover. It's the thing you ought to do. You need to turn down those phones. Now, as we go into our next segment, I'll show you that with my Android phone, with just a few clicks of a button, you can turn it down and hear it no more. You can even turn it off so you can hear it later. So, voiceover is the thing you need today. Turn down that phone.
So we taught, basically I do 2 videos. So we do one on the class with the Disneys, the little guys, and then the one with the teens.
Yes.
So we'll do more, like some specific questions about that and some overall ones. So I want to start with basically what was the rundown of class today with the Disneys, with the little guys. So how did you approach it? Like what certain tasks would you do, just so I can check them as a reference in?
Well, one of the things I must say that with all the classes, we have to try to get the kids to understand, get them in line. The thing is that sometimes the energy is high. Because now, one of the things the kids will see about me, sometimes they'll see that I'm having so much fun, and then I have to bring them back in. I have to say, okay, all right, I know I laughed and played around, so now I got to corral them. I got to let them know that this is actually a job. This is something that they actually can gain money in. And so sometimes to give them that focus, they have no concept of having money other than mom buying it, dad buying it, and giving it to them. And then some of the kids who are better to do, they will always know it's coming and believe it's a ever-flowing tree that drops leaves of money onto them. And so I have to give them the actual visual that this is something that you're going to be working and you're in it to win it. But you got to concentrate, you got to read it, and to see where sometimes the most hyper kid who's getting all the laughs. I've seen a kid today who was able to try to stop laughing, and he tried to concentrate. He tried to read it. He tried to get it right. He was getting all the attention because of being the funny kid in class. But I tried to convey to him, be the kid who gets the attention for being good. And when I conveyed that to him, it seemed like it clicked at one point. If I'm good at this, they're cheering my name. Okay? They're smiling because they're happy for me. They're not laughing at me because I'm making a joke. Corralling that. And also, we had a young lady that started saying she missed her mom. She was crying. So what I did, I took another girl that was the same age or so, or closer to her age, and who was very good at what she did, and was able to have her convey. Just say your name, slate your name, and read your script. She missed her mom just like the kid who was crying. But she knew and was reassured that mom was there. And, we can do this. Utilizing a peer is something that I learned how to do a long time ago. Sometime it took a peer of mine to kind of convey what I didn't understand. And many times when we get upset at our teacher because we didn't understand a homework assignment or something, or even sometimes when our parents say something, we go to our sibling. So I was able to go to another kid and help that other kid. And at the end, the kid did much better. So having that help and to convey, utilizing that peer to actually show the kid that, yes, I can do it and you can do it too. So in the smaller kids, the Disney class, that was very important. Utilizing the peer to help move forward and let them know, again, you can win. You can be good at this.
Right. So yeah, I definitely see that I was like noticing that was the theme, like this is your job, like this can be taken seriously.
Yes.
So then in the same way, what do you think that whole theme was, what you wanted to get across with the teens class?
With the teens class as well, here we have some teens that some of them knew what they wanted to do, and some of them were like, they're in a situation where, they probably, even if they weren't into it, but when they started noticing that the kids who were into it, then now it's like, I got to show I can be just as good as her or him. Some had the natural ability, and some just had to be the competitor ability. When I say competitor ability, where they were able to compete, they were like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it too. I didn't want to convey any competition. I want to convey, let's all win. You all can win this. You all can be good. So the delivery ended up being where, as I got one up who did well, the next one wanted to do well. And I can't say they outdid each other, but it seemed like to me, we became a class that were like on the same, we were on the same page. One young man was very abstract. He was in his own little world, and I did things that to gather his interest. And even when I spoke with him, he couldn't articulate what he wanted to where I understood him. But what he was able to do was touch on one thing that interests me. I'm into technology. I want to find out the next audio recorder, the next, the next camcorder, camera, DSLR, the latest Mac, the latest PC. I'm into the technology. I want to tie those things all together. So when he said technology, now he piqued my interest. When I noticed that he was someone who was not able to vocalize or articulate what he wanted to do in so many other ways, I had to let him know that there's still room for you. Because when you're watching television, when you're watching movies, the guy who you pay attention to is a guy with the abilities. It may be a guy with the computer. It may even be, if it's an action movie, it may be a guy who is very good with a gun or very good with martial arts, but he can make you pay attention even if he has no lines at all. So I want to let him know that you're still valid. You're still valid. There's a place for you, even though you may not be the person who have a lot of lines. Just showing your ability to do what you naturally can do. There's a place for you in acting.
Yeah, that's perfect. And this is perfect because it's like referencing it. I know I can like cut to the conversation that we had with him and everything. That's perfect. So I guess more of just straight up, what did you have them do? So you had, you gave, just say like, I started out giving them all scripts and then they each went in and then they would try again and if they messed up. So just kind of like give the just straight up rundown of what you did with them, like the activities.
Yes, well, one of the things I did was able to get them in with the scripts, let them come into the booth, begin to read. Now, of course, focus on the script. And one of the things that I try to have them understand is one word at a time. I'm a person who has a strong disability, and that disability is actually a stuttering disability where it happens and I have to make sure I corral every word that I use, even in regular conversation, because when I begin to speak, I hear my stutter. Sometimes I can feel it about to come on before it even happens. So concentrating and saying one word at a time, I try to convey that to them, but also I try to convey to them slating your name. When you say your name, you want people to remember that. We had one young lady that while she was in the booth, I had her slate her name, but I had it slate her name differently. And there's my stutter, as you just heard. And I asked her what was her middle name, because she said her first name, and I'm not hearing her name strongly. And her name was Brielle. But it sounds like she's saying Brill. And it's to me now, I'm not sure how I sound on the microphone, but I'm not hearing her. But when she said Jasmine Johnson, and the class heard it, an uproar took place. And the thing is, and that let her know, your name means something. I got it. I got your name. So slating your name, one word at a time. Reading script, one word at a time. If they do that, those are some of the key components that if you're auditioning, slating your name, reading where each word is articulated, you can get your feet not only in the door, but you can actually get the audition and possibly get the job. That's what I wanted to convey to them today.
Great. And then, let's see, talk about just your workflow kind of with how each person would go in, and then like why you would stop them at certain points and then give them feedback and stuff like that. So just kind of explain your workflow with having them in and out and giving them feedback in the booth.
When I would have the students come in, I have them, first of all, would give them a script. They're reading over it. They're supposed to study that script. And many times what happens, they'll get so caught up into the laughter or what someone else is doing. And then other students can be very distracting where they want to show you something on their phone. They want to whisper something to you. And what happens then, it takes your mind off of that script. And you need to make sure that you're paying attention to your script, because you don't want to walk in that booth and start stammering or stammering. It's one thing to be a person who naturally stutters, but it's another thing to be a person who stutters and stammers because you didn't study. Okay? Now, I can study and know something frontwards and backwards and probably have known it for days or weeks or months, but because of whatever the condition in me that makes me stutter, it will come out. So I didn't want them to go through what I go through. I wanted them to prepare, walk in, have these words ready. So as they walked in, and I stopped them, because I didn't understand what they said when they slated their name. Or they sound like they're reading homework. I don't want to hear that, I went by McDonald's and they did, well, just as you heard that inaudible now, that's how it comes across over the microphone. I just hear words being thrown at me. I want each word that you say, when I bite into a burger and it's extra hot and juicy, and then I reach for a golden French fry and take a sip of my ice cold drink, I want those words heard. And when I can't hear those words, I stop them. Let's try it again. Sometimes there's no energy given. Sometimes it seems like they're not interested in what they're speaking of. And even if it's something that you may not even have any idea on what you're reading about. Just imagine reading about caviar, and you never tasted caviar. You don't even know what caviar is. They tell you it's fish eggs, but when you're reading that piece of paper, caviar, as I take some and spread it on a cracker, and I bite into it, I can taste the essence of all the things of the sea. You say that, and I think that you are enjoying this. I want to go out and get some caviar because you have made it sound like this is something good to have. So I tried to make sure they knew that each word that came out of your mouth when you were speaking and doing this voiceover for an advertisement, you got to convey. You got to convey, in this case, for the most part, you enjoy. It's good. It tastes good. It makes me happy. And that when that's not happening, I have to stop and get their energy to flow in a better direction. And I did that. Stop. Let's start that again. Let's start with the slate. Just read it, one word at a time. And let's get into it. Sound happy. And I let them know the thing is, at the end of the day, once again, this is for a payday.
Awesome. And then, so I think we want to go into more of the funny, like, instances that happen. So with Adriana in the Disney's class, like, I saw you were getting a kick out of just, like, you yourself couldn't stop laughing. So just kind of expand on that moment with her and how that was, like, kind of cute, and how she was maybe able to help. Like, you noticed that energy and, like, brightness about her, and then she was able to help the other girl who had more trouble.
Yes, we have Adriana, who I already was able to see in the classroom that she was, I had got her attention where she was with me there in the class, and here I am. I could say something and make her laugh. I could say something to her about something she did wrong, and she would still laugh. Because, like, again, I would say it in a way to where she's like, "Oh my God, you're right, yeah," I mean, so Adriana began to laugh until tears were coming out of her eyes, but she still was laughing. And I was trying to look. Now I'm trying to contain her, and while I'm trying to contain her, I'm seeing that she's making me laugh. Like, stop it! Will you stop laughing? You can't have fun in voiceover class, And now there's no crying in voiceover class, but I was able to get her to come out the booth, kind of calm down, to get the laughs out, and she came out. She realized, even though she's the funny kid, and she sees that she already, got me laughing, and so it's like hard to actually get into a serious chastisement of her. But I still have to convey to her, you're good, but now you have to show it. Now, the other kids were paying attention to that as well. They could hear her ability to deliver. 8 years old, and she's reading. She's reading words that are, that a kid probably twice her age, I've definitely heard kids that are 16 have trouble with the flow of the words. But she got it. She knew how to do it. But she has a natural, happy-go-lucky spirit. And she knew that, okay, all right, he did pull me out of there, and I want to go back in, and I want to win. I want the show. I am good at this. And not only did she show me that she was good at this, that she can actually contain herself, and she can go back and read those words, those big girl words. But when there was another young girl, her same age, crying, I was thankful of one thing that the other young lady who was crying did not do. I'm glad that she didn't say that my voice intimidated her. I'm so glad. And she didn't. She said she misses her mommy. And I kept waiting for her to say, you scare me. I waited for that. I was actually, but quite honestly, if she would have said it, don't let the gray hair fool you, it would have hurt me. And quite honestly, on the inside, I would want to almost cry because it's like, I'm intimidating you when I'm the person that says, I want you to win. I don't make it my business doing any hugging, but I wanted to let her know, come on, you were already doing good. So what I did, the kid who had all the cheerfulness and happy-go-luckiness, Adriana, I was able to say, go over to her and help her. Come here. say her name for her. Her name was Maggie. And she was able to say Maggie's first name, last name. She slated. She become the stand-in actress for the other kid and showed the kid a can-do attitude. Now, that took Adriana from being the class cut-up, and she actually interrupted the class with her laughing. But she brought the class all back together with her ability to show the other kid, listen, come on, do it like me. And it changed the temperature of the class. It changed the emotions. So now Maggie's laughing because Adriana got her laughing down onto the floor. And so I took my paper and I lightly started tapping Maggie like, you get up off that floor. You get up off the floor. You can't laugh now. But that's one of the things even in acting and voiceover is that you may actually have to show one emotion and may have to switch and take another. But in this case, it was real life. And it all ended well.
Awesome. All right, I'm just gonna cut here just because. Oh, could you talk about Melanie a little bit? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, Melanie, yes. Melanie, quite honestly, I must say, when she walked in the booth and she began to speak with a microphone, it was almost like I'm looking at one person and hearing another. Because one thing, I couldn't understand her first pronunciation of her name. She was saying Melanie, but I kept hearing Eleni. And one of the things I actually conveyed to her later on is that Eleni is actually a very nice sounding name as well. But she naturally had that piece of paper and she was reading and was able to convey the happiness about having the toy. I believe it was Bob the Builder. And I'm like, well, I even asked her later, how did you do it so well? I said, like, you really were into this. And she says, because I watched Bob the Builder. You know, I've been watching it for years, and I'm like, wow. That's the ingredient sometimes you need to actually get the job. You need to be able to identify and relate with the product that you're trying to deliver. So Melanie, actually, she embodied that. And it was just amazing because I did not, even her slating her name, I didn't lose any confidence in her because I didn't want to, but she made me gain confidence in her when she began to read. It was like, wait a minute, she woke me up. So I was thankful to hear Melanie.
That's awesome. All right, all right, and then can you clap? Perfect.
Oh, you put it on, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
And
Speed? No.
Yeah. So I guess all of this, I mean, there's tons of life lessons with, public speaking.